Welcome to the AGC podcast. If you don't know us already, the Akuta Group of Companies is a British interior design collective with a portfolio of 6 international award-winning design brands. I'm your host, Tori, and in this pod we'll be revealing exactly what it takes to build a global design collective that works in some of the world's most exclusive postcodes. You'll meet the talented individuals behind each brand, as well as the many interesting people that have joined us along the way. Stay with us to hear more about how we got here, where we are going, and how we plan on being a force for good in this world of possibilities. We are super excited today to be joined by Taran Wilkhu, a master and talent in his field, and not just one field. The deeper you delve, the more you find out what you've done. So thank you very much for joining us. And Taran, you are an architectural, lifestyle and interiors photographer.
Yeah.
And you have also previously done projects of our own as well. So you've been involved with AGC and all our beautiful headshots. That has been all your masterpieces. So we've all experienced your work here, and that's why we thought you'd be a great fit and get you on today to hear more about your journey and your current work as well. So yes, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, Tori, and congratulations on
thank you.
The bump.
Yes, the bump that's probably showing on the screen as well. So need to point that out as well.
Honestly, I have to say huge thanks actually to Akuta for. I mean, I met Stella during lockdown, and she has. And you guys as a company have given me a massive hug right from the beginning, and sort of, you know, I've been having some amazing projects that I've ended up shooting with you guys from like the OWO, the Bryanston Penthouse, and meeting all you guys. I mean, it's just so special.
Your job takes you to some beautiful spaces, I imagine. Not just ours, but some.
No, it's true. I do get to travel a lot with my work as well.
Well, I think it would be nice to start just hearing more about your background.
Yeah.
And your portfolio, or sort of your background and everything that you've sent, your story is seriously impressive. So it'd be nice to give the listeners a bit more info on your journey and how you got from where you were through your careers and now to here.
Yeah, where I were. Yeah, let's start. Should we start okay, right. My whole life has been a series of career pivots, if you like. Mm-hmm. And it starts with me studying law at university. So can you imagine? I was
completely different. completely different. Right? Yeah.
So I was studying law in Manchester, graduated, and I was like, right, this is sound. I might come back to this at some point in my life. But I think I might do a bit of travelling, go and see the world a little bit, learn a new culture, a new language. So I ended up in Japan. That was my first sort of pivot, if you like. And I was teaching English to high school students over there. I thought I'd stay for a year and then go back into the law, but I ended up staying a couple of years. It's like proper sucked in, especially on the language side.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and I could actually see my trajectory and my whole life mapped out in Japan. Do you know what I mean? I thought, this is it. I am going to live here forever.
Oh, what? As in you thought you'd settle there
and
then
be
there?
Yeah, 2 years in, I was like, really into the language.
Yeah.
Because I was not in like Tokyo or anything. I was like middle of nowhere.
Whereabouts?
Southern Japan, a little place called Kochi, one of the smaller islands. Mm-hmm. And nobody spoke English there either. It was like...
How did you get by to start with?
I just had to delve into it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Did you know Japanese?
No,
Any Japanese before you went?
A single word of Japanese.
I mean, that is throwing you in the deep end.
Sayonara, and I probably watched Karate Kid or something like that. And that was in Okinawa. But yeah, even sayonara, I didn't even know what it meant. I thought it might mean hello or something.
Yeah.
It was actually good. But yeah, Japan was...
You've come a long way since then.
To be honest, I would have stayed there much longer, but my dad wasn't well. And so I had to make a huge decision to come back. I mean, it was sort of mental health related, and I'm really close to my dad, and he still has, this happening at the moment, but I moved back to England, and I'm from Yorkshire, as you can hear.
Yeah, the northern accent
coming out. But I moved back to Bradford for a bit, and I thought, you know what, there's no jobs here related to Japan. This is not going to work out for me very well over here. But I decided to re-study again, and I studied a master's in Japanese society.
Okay.
That was 6 months in Essex University, and then I was a scholarship, so I was back out in Japan. It was brilliant.
Wow.
But graduated from there, and I thought, right, there's no way I'm going to find a job in Yorkshire that's Japanese.
Yes,
there's no way. There's nothing there. So I moved down to London, and that's where the sort of London story starts. And it was back in 2003. And then when you're talking about different career pivots, so I was working in film, fashion, organising events, business events, all sorts of stuff. When I did a stint with a TV company called Fuji International Productions. So there I was working as a TV presenter. My co-presenter at the time was Sarah Kaywood, who's former Top of the Pops.
Sarah Kaywood,
So she was like Zoe Ball and her.
Yeah. I think we need a clip of your acting days on this.
This is 2003, right? So I've got it on like B-tape or something.
Okay.
But, I need to digitise that. I need to digitise that, you're right. But it was good. It was brilliant. I did that for about a year.
It's good fun.
But the problem was, so this was 2007, and then the bombings happened in London, right? 7/7 bombings, and everything shifted at that time. So a lot of Japanese companies who had invested in London just pulled out of projects. And one of the main projects they pulled out was TV and theatre and all sorts of events. They'd moved offices to other places, and I was like, oh, so that's the end of that one then. But I don't know if you remember, there's something called like monster.com. Have you ever heard of monster.com? It's like a LinkedIn, right?
Was it like a recruitment?
Yeah, exactly. A recruitment thing. And I had my CV up on there, and then I got kind of headhunted by a company called Lehman Brothers.
A small little company.
But I had no idea who Lehman Brothers was at the time, right? And they were like looking for a Japanese speaker, working in their sort of marketing and events and corporate access departments. And I was like, what the hell is this? This is not my job. But the money was like, whoa, hello, let's go there, right? So I started working there. Within a year, the world corporate biggest financial crash happened in 2008. And I was there that day walking out with my box. What the hell's going on here, right? But I ended up staying in that field for a lot longer, if you like. So I worked at Goldman Sachs, I was at Morgan Stanley, and it was really good in some ways. I managed to save money, invest, and, travel the world a lot with the job as well. Yeah. But it was something inside me was like calling, like, you've got to leave this industry.
So your work now focuses on the exploring or the interaction between people in space in the built environment. Yeah. What was your sort of journey to becoming what you are now? So you're a notable photographer.
Before I became an architectural photographer, I did dabble in a few other types of photography as well. Mm-hmm. So wedding photography was one thing I did. Yeah, can you imagine? I loved a party. Right, I mean, Stella can.
So you're right in the dance floor at the end, getting all the photos.
But I thought I just love parties. People are all dressed up. It's a happy occasion. Yeah. Get on that dance floor. Why don't I just do it with a camera and get paid for it as well, right? That's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. I mean, you literally are the third most important person behind the bride and groom. You cannot make a mistake. Yeah. And then I was just like, you know what? This is not for me.
Yeah.
I've got to do a pivot here, and that's when I started doing that architectural course. Yeah. In photography, and then from there, one of my assignments, in a way, my tutor said to me, look, pick a personal project, and then just go for it and see what happens, because I needed to create like a portfolio. Mm-hmm. I'm going into a really saturated market full of photographers. Yeah. I'm come from a wicked earning job where everything's secure, got great health benefits, got all that going on, into nothing. Zero. I was starting at scratch, right? How am I going to do this? I am lucky because I live in a pretty fantastic home. I live in a Walter Siegel home, which are self-built properties, built in the 70s, timber frame. There's no bricks in my house, right? And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do do you know King Folk, for example, the book?
Oh,
King
yes.
Folk. So I wanted to do kind of a King Folk style thing.
Yeah.
Where I'd shoot the people who live in these houses, so my neighbours basically.
Yeah.
And then go into each of these houses. And I linked up with a journalist, Alice Graham. She works for the Guardian at the time.
Mm.
And she lives in one of these houses as well. And she was like, Taran, why don't we do, like a self-published book or something? Right? We're starting off with that. So I teamed up with her, teamed up with a graphic designer, and we created this book. And I was like, yeah, we sold 200 copies at an open house event. I thought, yeah, it's all right, but I need to take this to the next stage.
Yeah.
Right? These guys were all happy with that. And I was like, no, I've got to get this out there properly.
Yeah.
So it was Frankfurt World Book Fair, booked a Ryanair ticket, jumped on a flight, and I just showed it to like 3 or 4 different architectural publishers. And I said, right, I'm gonna come out here by the end of the day with a deal in my hand. I want one of you guys to buy this off me. And I shook hands with a Swiss publisher who said, well, we'll make 10,000 copies of that book. We just want to change your front cover. Wicked. So this is 6 months in the industry, right? I've just come in and now I've got a book. So this is my first book here.
That is awesome. But this just shows your entrepreneurial side as well. Probably, you're not just a photographer that goes around and does amazing shots. You've also got the other side to you.
It's doing
deals. That is pushing that side. But that is amazing to have your own book, isn't it? 6 months in.
6 months in, got a new book. And with that book, we had an exhibition at the School of Architecture as well.
Yeah.
And it was there where a lot of press was there. And people were like, who is these images? Who's doing this?
Who's this new name?
Who's this new name? We don't know you. We don't know you. But if we talk about one specific pivotal moment, I would say it was walking in or being invited by Condé Nast headquarters, Vogue House. Have you been to Vogue House? I don't know if you've heard of it.
I haven't been.
So Vogue House, I mean, they have moved recently, but if you walk into their entrance, right, it's just like reception full of frames of like front covers of GQ and Vogue Living and World of Interiors, and you're just like in awe, right? Wow. You literally walk into this lobby area and you're like, wow. And I've been invited in here by House and Garden, and they took me upstairs and said, Taran, we love your work, but now we're going to make you into an editorial photographer. And I was watching here like, right, this is how the process happens. So they introduced me to the features editors, the graphic designers, and they showed me a whole layout of how they create a magazine. I was like, this is it. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is where I need to be. And going on a shoot with House and Garden for the first time, it was an opportunity to sort of like collaborate as well. So you have stylists there, the designers there, and you sort of do these tweaks to camera, and you're like, okay, this is what we need. This is what it takes to get an editorial. And then all of a sudden,
this was all for interiors as well.
This was interiors. So going from architecture more with the modern house into interiors. Yeah. Through editorials, and I guess then just publishing just became like an obsession of mine. I was just like,
as we can see, in many books here.
No, but if I'm going to go and shoot for people like yourselves, I really want to get you out there in an editorial way. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I want you to be able to shout about your project,
which you capture so well, because you can tell you have a style, I think, for our projects.
That's cool.
And maybe it's more the interior side of things where you have a style, but you can tell, and it just looks so different, and it's more arty and it's moody. You've got the lighting, everything feels so right for it. You stage it so well.
Well, I think it's a collaboration. And I think that's what's really important about like shoot days anyway. It just feels, when you're on set and you're tethered up and you've got people who have been working on the absolute details of those projects, you are there as the icing on the cake. Do you know what I mean? You are there, and it's such a privilege as a photographer, because I know there's so much work and effort have gone in from all of the team, and I just want to make sure you guys get back, when you look at your screens and go, wow, we nailed that, didn't we? Yeah. And so to be part of that journey from yourselves, from architects and designers, it's an honour. It's proper humbling for me.
Nice. Love that. And then I guess what makes interiors and architectural photography different to other types of photography?
I mean, if you...
There must be so many elements to it that you have to think about differently, and you can't just switch from one to the other.
I mean, I never really tried my hand at fashion photography. I think that could have been fun.
Yeah.
But I was not really into like studio sets and things. What makes it different for me is because I'm always trying to use natural light, so trying to find the really nice spots in the spaces. But I think it just fit with me. It's more like still life for me. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I do like shooting people in spaces as well. So like you know when I've shot your headshots, for example, it's about capturing the whole space, but you guys in that space in a beautiful way. So I hope I can try and do that.
We get a lot of compliments on those headshots just because
Apart
they're so different. Apart from the flicking hair one, we're not doing that one again.
Yeah.
But the way you shoot them is more you're in. It focuses on the scenery as well. It's not just the person. Exactly. It's the whole setup of where they are.
It's really interesting is because when Stella contacted me, first of all, she said to me, "Oh, I'd like you did the modern house shoot, didn't you? Their portraits." And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "I'd like to do something like that." And I was like, "Okay, so what's your background? Where's the space?" And so she brought me in here. But now I get people like architects and interior designers saying, "Oh, I've seen you work in Akuta, and can you do something like that?" So
good. It's getting you out there. It's working. It's working charm.
Yeah.
And then when do you feel like you developed an eye for the great shots as well? Was that at the beginning? You sort of, I guess, if you're 6 months in and you're selling a book, then you think, okay, I must be onto something.
Exactly. I guess it is that. When you get paid for your job, for the first time, somebody commissions you. It's quite a buzz, isn't it? Mm. It's quite a buzz. It's like, wow, I'm not just doing this as a hobby.
Yeah.
And so...
This feels right.
This feels right.
Must be.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously, like, getting a deal with a book and, like, working with all the magazines in the world that I've managed to work with. Like, I literally have had the opportunity to work with all the best magazines. Like, honestly, like, I cannot...
Who is a top photographer that you admire?
Past or present?
Either. Your choice.
Can I have
you can
more?
You can have both.
Can I have more
if you
than
like.
I don't even know. Past photographer. Do you know or have you heard of Henri Cartier-Bresson, French photographer?
Should I have done?
No, not necessarily. No. Not necessarily. But he was one of the founders of Magnum. He shoots 35mm beautiful black and white decisive moments.
Yeah.
He is all about just capturing it in film on that one shot. It's stunning. One of my favourite pictures of his is when there's this man jumping over a puddle, but the light, the shadows. I was obsessed with his work when I first came into photography. So yeah, he's one.
Need to check him out. Yeah. Okay.
Past, present. My mate's gonna love this actually because he, at the end of the day, they're all competitors as well, right? In your industry. Mm. If I'm thinking of a photographer, I mean, there's some great people like Jake Curtis. Jake Curtis is doing really well. Felix Speller's doing really well. Beautiful tones, and I like some of the work they're doing on campaigns with interiors and people in them.
Yeah.
But there's one guy, my mate Jim Stevenson. He
stand out.
Pucker. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not only like a Liverpool supporter like myself, so that
that's
helps.
why.
That helps.
Yeah, so, is that why he's up there?
It does help, but he's not just a photographer; he's also a filmmaker, and the way he captures, he's totally obsessed with human interaction and architecture, and he is exceptional. He's going to love that. I can't wait for him to hear that.
Got to check him out then.
Jim Stevenson.
Okay.
Top lad.
And then what advice would you give to any young photographers looking to start out? Is there anything in particular?
Right, not just in photography, but I have had the opportunity in the last couple of years now, where I've been invited by the Design Museum, who have a program called the Ardar Young Creatives program, and this is to help support youngsters who've got kind of creative curiosity minds to try and go into some sort of field, whether it be in design, graphics, photography, and just giving them sort of different access routes and a bit of mentorships and things like that. So I've been doing that for the last 2 years, and one of the things I always say to these guys is, like, don't be afraid to make mistakes. We all make mistakes, and making mistakes actually helps you improve in life, and that's how you get success. I think what's really important for kids as well, or for young people going into the industry, is finding your tribe. What I mean by that is surrounding yourself with like good people, whether it's clients or teams. I mean, I'm really fortunate that I've got great retouchers, I've got great clients, I've got brilliant assistants. You probably guys have met Felix and Chris as well on shoots. But yeah, I'm all about collaboration. And I think one thing that youngsters often think is that they need to have everything mapped out.
Yeah.
At an early age, and as you can see, I had nothing mapped out at their age. So they look at my story and they're just like, wow, okay. So I was 39 when I became a photographer.
Yeah, which
you
you
know
think,
that's like,
if you're thinking about it at the age of 20,
yeah.
you're probably thinking, I need to have this all sorted.
Oh, it's fine, you can still do it then, right? So that's quite a nice thing. But another thing is, I guess, the business skills side. People think it's just taking pictures, right? And we can all take pictures, right? We've all got access to cameras and phones and stuff. But there's a whole business side of photography as well. So you end up being your CEO, your CFO, your PR, your marketing, your whole strategy, your negotiate. Actually, all the skills that I've probably picked up on in my different industries I've worked with all come to fruition as a photographer.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be my IP skills, so intellectual property, knowing my copyright, how to do contracts for my law, negotiation, getting deals, getting things published.
But I think that's probably part of the battle that people don't realise.
Yeah.
In order to make it and to be successful, you have to have all these extra elements. And
I don't think that when I speak to people who have actually studied photography from, you know, like 4 or 5 years of photography, they say they're always learning about history, the theory, the practical side of it, but they don't get to learn the business side of it. And I think that's really important, because when I came in, like I said before, I came in from a really good wage, you know what I mean, and coming from there to zero.
Yeah.
I had to I had to go big again, and know my worth, and it's quite an interesting period that. But you know, to youngsters, there is more to just photography. There's the business side of it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Well, now for the quick fire
Quick
questions.
fire. I'll try and be quick.
Right. Okay. So, morning person or night owl? Quick fire.
How quick fire can it be? I mean, like, yeah, probably a bit of both.
Okay. What time you
Okay,
waking up?
so I'm a night owl in the sense that I'm a party person. Party hard.
So you can't
work
stay
hard.
up if
I
you
stay
need
up
to.
late, and I've got press deadlines and things like that, and I have to get up really early for shoots. But there is one thing. It's a Japanese saying, actually. Inemuri and hirune. So these two words are about, it's like the Japanese version of siesta. So I try to manifest right now on post-production days of taking naps, intentional
love
naps.
That. Yeah.
So
Great
during
shout.
the day, I mean, it sounds like much better, right, than just like going to sleep or whatever. But yeah, I think I need to manifest that more into my rhythm, because I do work and play hard.
Yeah. So a bit of both.
Bit of both.
Bit of both. Okay. Favourite book or movie that inspires you?
I'm more of a podcast person, to be honest. I love like true crime, sports, politics, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if I had to say one book that is a must read, and I read in lockdown, it's The Good Immigrant.
Okay.
Now, this is by Nikesh Shukla. He edited it, and it's basically, what's good about it, it's a series of essays. So it's 20 plus essays of people from diverse backgrounds who were brought up in the UK, giving them a voice of, whether they've been assimilated, they've faced racism, just being born as an immigrant in this country. And it's such a good read.
Okay.
Yeah, The Good
Want to
Immigrant.
know. And then what is the next thing on your bucket list?
Bucket list. I think I would like to. There's one thing I've not done is like go to Ibiza actually. Is that weird?
So you need a project out there. You need a reason
I need
to
a
pull
party.
you out
No,
there.
I think I just need a party. I think I just need to
just
let it out
any
there.
excuse.
The other thing is like I'd love to go in a hot air balloon.
Okay.
I'd like
Maybe
to,
you could do that in Ibiza.
Maybe I could do that in
2 and 1.
And the other one is shooting from a helicopter. So I could do all three
Cool.
in Ibiza.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be good.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I think we know what you're doing next then.
Yeah. Just got to make sure I'm sober
Watch
when
the
I'm
space.
up there,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, bring it in a bit. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Taran. That's been super interesting.
Oh,
It's great to have you on. So,
Thanks.
yeah, hopefully you can join us again next time.
See you soon.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you.